show you how to create some cool graphics with just text and one or two pictures using something called a clipping mask. So, before I get started, I need to search up a quote that I like. Could have to do with art, sports, whatever. Let's try to stay on the positive side. Could be song lyrics. Let's also try to keep it school appropriate, please. So I'm going to go with this one by this poet, Chris Jamie, unsure. But I need to go ahead and get Photoshop launched up. So I can either go into Creative Cloud up here, or I can go to Go Applications and look for my Photoshop here. Double click and launch it. So it takes a hot minute to load. Mine was not behaving, so I had to force quit it earlier. Things that you're going to want to think about. What kind of picture do you want to place over your text? You could search that up on Google or Pexels or Unsplash, up to you. But I would pick something that has some kind of texture or looks cool, some kind of pattern. Nothing overly complicated. Like obviously you're not going to put a person on this because it's going to be cut out by the text. So here's Photoshop. Maybe. Okay, I'm going to hit New File. And I just want it 11 by 8.5. Does not matter what color you start with. I'm just going to start with black, nice and simple. RGB color because it's on a screen. Hit Create. Now I need to find my text tool because obviously if I'm going to type, I need some text. If you go down on your toolbar, right here, it's sitting over here. The other thing I need open is my layers box. So I'm going to go to Window, down to Layers, click. I just have my background layer now. When I come over to my text tool, this top toolbar changes. This is where my fonts are. This is where the style is. This is where the text size is. A couple other settings, and my color. I want to be able to see what I'm typing. So I'm going to switch to this. I like Apple Chancery, actually. So let's look at my quote again. Create with the heart, build with the mind. So when I click, it creates a line of text using the type tool. And I can make things more interesting visually by putting some words in all capitals or changing the font by highlighting it. I'm going to do same font for that one. I can also change the size of some of the letters comparatively. Right now it's at 116. Let's do 150. See how that jumped up and got bigger? And I think I want mine to be on a separate line as well as heart. I can also, once this is typed out, hit Command T to transform and make it larger. Or I can squash and stretch if I add the Shift key. Once I'm happy with what I have typed, I actually need to add who said the quote. Let's do back to our text tool. Click on the line. Chris Jamie. We're going to make this smaller. And we're going to go back to Apple Chancery. Way smaller. Let's do 72. A little too small. Let's try 150. That way we know who said the quote. And maybe I want to put it on a line down here. Once I am happy with my quote, everything's spelled right, I don't need to type anything else, I'm going to do something called rasterize it. Rasterizing is just a big word for make it flat and make it behave like an object. I can do that two ways. I can either go up to Type and click on Rasterize Type Layer, because this is a type layer, or I can Control right click on the layer and come down here. Doesn't matter which way you do it. Click. Now this will behave like an object. The next step is to grab whatever picture I wanted for my text. So I'm going to search for nebula because I have a bunch of those. And I want to make sure I pick something interesting, not too samey the whole way around. This one looks cool. I'm going to drag and drop that into Photoshop. I have to place it by hitting Enter or Return. And now that's up on a layer above my text. It's covering my text. I want it to match up to my text. And the way I do that is create a clipping mask. So I'm going to come over here, press the Control key, and right-click to open up all my options. I'm not going to rasterize it, although I could if I needed to. But I'm going to come down to something called Create Clipping Mask. And what this does is it clips it to the shape of whatever is on the layer right underneath it. So order is important here. I'm going to hit it, and it snaps to my text, which I think is pretty cool.